Ares versus Airwalker, Carter Slade and Hercules, fan made by Nick Coss. Of course, King Groot buff looks good. On paper, have they done my boy proud? Alliance War Season 28 announced, and surprise, it's an arena you may not have expected. Yes, hello one and all, and welcome to the Marvel Contest of Champions news show for Wednesday. How you all doing? And make sure to hit the like button, subscribe with post notifications on all, because we do have some stories to go over. Let's focus on the thank yous. Thank you so much to everybody that supports the channel here as a YouTube member and as well as a Patreon. You're on screen now. Thank you ever so much for keeping that love and support and helping support the channel financially, because you know I do this as a full-time venture. Also, those that support the channel over on twitch.tv/RichTheMan live. I probably won't be live streaming until next week at this rate, as I'm going to be taking a little bit of a breather time, a little bit of a headspace time. I'm going to visit some family and relatives, and get as soon as the funeral's kind of like out the way, then it's going to be back to the more intensive grind and streaming schedule. But thanks so much. If you want to do your Prime Gaming renewal sub, thank you, and I'll see you in a stream on Twitch very, very soon. And now we kick off the news properly with this amazing Ares fight by Nick Coss. Please go over and support Nick Coss. Link is in the description. He's got Ares versus Hercules, as well as John Walker and Carter Slade. It is just absolutely amazing the work that Nick puts in. Recently, as someone that plays Marvel Future Revolution, I fought off against Ares, and it's quite cool to see that particular character live here. By the way, support the Marvel Future Revolution channel, which is link is in the description as well. But yeah, Nick Coss just absolutely, I think he's got like so much better because he took a little bit of a break, and literally think that he's just back with just like the most banger of videos. Yeah, Nick's modeling is just it blows my mind how good it is. I wish that Kaban would allow him to come into the content creator or the CCP, but as well just like maybe just give him a little bit of a shout out, because like I think just some of the work is just absolutely amazing. It's a credit for him to be in the it's a credit for us to have him in the community. So go and check out his channel, link is in the description. Also, I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's a moment when Ares breaks the wrist of Hercules. And I'm gonna have to ask Nick about this, because it just looks like his wrist flops, like it's broken. Now it's time to have a quick look over the King Groot buff. Fundamentally, the elements of the champion remain the same, but there are some added things that give the champion a bit more spice. In particular with the Fury buff, which, as a fan of King Groot myself, that is one key factor. It's just that the Furies never have that much punch to them. The new things that the champion gets is that he's immune to power drain and power burn effects, which make him handy to agree, especially against certain champions that would do them. The way the Furies come into play is that Malice grows, and as it grows through the battle, it means that it grants additional potency to his Fury buffs, and signature ability unlocked longer poison duration. Experimentations into effects of poison have also granted him new abilities. His heavy attack now prolongs poisons and armor break debuffs on the opponent, and the noxious SP2 breath now deals direct damage on top of the poisonous effects. So it seems like it's pretty much old meets new, but everything gets just gets covered, which I think sounds great on paper for the rotations. I mean, before it's quite easy to sustain a huge amount of armor breaks, but this time it looks like you've got to do heavy attacks in order to achieve that. But that's still not so bad. So far so good. But now the biggest interest for me is how sustainable will this champion be for a lot of endgame based content? How potent will the regeneration still be? Because let's face it, a highly awakened version is going to mean for some great amount of regen. But if Kabam have reduced it down exponentially, then it's not going to be so interesting to me. Is it going to be a champion that you'd want to take into the likes of Abyss of Legends and various other bits of content? These are key questions we indeed need answers to. Let's just quickly do a comparison now. This is based on a rank 5 level 65. And as it says here, that unless otherwise stated, King Groot's Fury buffs each provide plus 501 attack rating and last 13 seconds. Now that is a little bit better than what is currently in game, especially from when you're getting the Fury buffs. And currently in game at the moment, it is a case King Groot begins each fight with 2 Fury buffs, increasing the attack by 380.77 for 12 seconds. So you definitely see there is a bump. That's better than the 6-star version at 565. God only knows what the 6-star version is going to be like. I'm hoping that it's going to be like an extra spice of potency. So that's something that I am actually pretty much looking forward to. The Malice side of things is the kind of the go-to for damage output, especially when it says here that King Groot starts the fight with a Malice passive, grants 3 Fury buffs each time it activates. Malice lasts as long as King Groot has at least 1 personal Fury buff remaining. I don't know if that will be amplified for something like the Heimdall synergy. That would be interesting to test out. While Malice is active, gain up to 100% Fury buff potency based on how long the fight has gone. Max bonus of 100 seconds. When Malice ends, it goes on cooldown for 13 seconds. That's fine. It's just a case of what it goes into, which is while Malice is on cooldown, any attack from either champion has 20% chance to grant 1 Fury charge. When cooldown ends, gain 1 Fury buff, each charge acquired to re-enter Malice. Each time King Groot's stack is evaded, auto-blocked or missed, gain 2 Fury charges, cooldown for 3 seconds. Nice. But that's just the thing of like, where does the regeneration side of things come in? Is that when that triggers off when it's on cooldown? Because before, it was when that kind of cycles on cooldown, you get regeneration, which has always been good to top up your health. And of course, that would be when the champion was awakened. Yes, that's how that works. So that added element, which you can see right here, is that while Malice is active, gain up to plus 100% poison duration based on how long the fight has gone. Max bonus after 100 seconds, so gotta wait around, wait your turn, it'll be fine. When Malice enters cooldown, gain regeneration buff, recovering 7,569. Now, that is still a good chunk. I'm just trying to find something that's kind of like heavily awakened to give you a comparison. Based on a quick check over on Aunt May, it does give the impression that from a rank 3 6-star 200 signature, it is 9,757. So it's a slight nerf, but if there's a slight nerf in the regeneration to get a more potent champion when it comes to damage output, then I'm all for it. I am really all for it. There's a few more bits this champion that I really like in the buff state, and I think that this is going to be great to interact with loads, as now #robots you can interact with damage tripling based on the direct damage, because that's the thing. You do direct damage, and if it's a champion that can be poisoned, you do additional damage as well based on being poisoned. Before, if you had Fury buffs up, you're able to give double the amount of poison damage, which in some cases, and based on like Aunt May, I think we can get upwards of like 4,302 times 2 on that one to give at least 8,600. Now that's going to be the thing, isn't it? Like, will we indeed get 8,600 worth of damage, especially if we're considering that for this, that we're going to double up? Are we going to not double up? Is the direct damage going to be there, not there? Is it going to be more potent that the Fury buffs are going to be the main thing? Those are going to be very key things. And do we have to then set up the SP1 armor break system beforehand in order to maximize damage potential so that we do a great amount with the direct damage? And especially, does it scale with the Fury buffs, does it not? And the same thing with the poison debuff side of things, because now it's all about increasing the duration of that poison being on. Handy for some things, like I'm just trying to think of some of the stuff that handy for times when you got to put 3D, like diss track, for example. Handy for that, but then is it going to be handy for elsewhere? Because this could do a lane with diss track and as well do buffed up at the same time, so it's kind of a happy double whammy. In any case, the champion does look good, and as well there's some nice synergies. There's this nice synergy with Crossbones, which is while fighting #hero champions, Malice grants an additional Fury buff and chance to gain Fury charges during cooldown. It's increased by a flat plus 10%, and Crossbones starts the fight with 2 Fury buffs. Excellent. I'm actually interested in taking this on my lane in map 7, because I do Major League, but also I use Crossbones towards the end for spiked armor. So I may even rotate out one champion in replace for that. So this is going to be quite exciting. I'm going to have I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. So I am really looking forward to this buff. This is something I very much look forward to. And now moving on to Alliance Wars. Yes, Alliance Wars Season 28. Can you believe it? It is coming very, very soon, and whether or not it's a fun time because of the parry and dex bugs currently going on, it's a thing. Now, without going too much into the details of the node changes, because there are a lot, Tiebreaker, Undo Button, and Tier 1 expanded. Let's have a look at this. Fight durations, tie suck. They do. For a lot of like people at the top, it does suck. There are too many of them in the high tier war right now. So we are going to track the total in fight duration of oh god, of all members of the alliance break ties. Yeesh. The time tracking starts when you get the fight call out. So the visible in-fight timer will disagree with the recorded duration, 4 seconds, the length of run in animation. There are no points for this, and it will only check against. Oh my god, really? Stop gap to help mitigate. I'm going to stop reading on there. I understand what Kabam are trying to do here, right? People will like this. There are going to be people out there that like this. I'm not a massive fan of this, to be brutally honest. I think there's a few mitigating factors as to what would ruin that particular data recording, and that's just going to lead for a lot of players feeling a little bit kind of like, oh, frustrated about this. Yeah, I mean, I'd say run it for a season, see what players are saying, and then taking it from there. But ooh, I am glad that I do not fight up in. I'm glad I don't do Alliance Wars full stop, but I'm glad I don't do it right at the top tier, because it's like this is going to be something that I don't know. We call it like a bone of contention and people falling out over. I've got to see it firsthand. I've got to see players kind of like getting some feedback around this and taking it from there. But yeah, not sure about that, Chief. Not sure about that. But the undo button. Now, many a time, people, it could be late at night. People had too many bevies, and they're kind of like going like, oh, I've got to move from Alliance Wars. Oh. And it's like, oh, I've joined in the wrong lane. Oh, I've gone the wrong path. It happens. It does from time to time. What else? There's map changes coming as well. Hard map timer increase. I think they're really trying to spice it up for those at the top level. I just think that this Alliance Wars kind of a point where we need a refresh of it. I'm not saying, I mean, like, for me personally, I'm like, get rid of the whole event, build something new, something more exciting for alliances to do rather than war and AQ. Like, have a different something there. I mean, what were these raiding things? We were meant to have this raiding thing kind of like looked into. That would be something that would be a little bit, better, fun on Boss Island. True focus. Oh, funny enough, there was a little bit of it. Where is it here? True focus. Defenders attacks, ignore, evade and miss. Ghost and Quake. I saw that meme on the Reddit. That was funny. That's funny. Yeah, and don't use them towards the end, of course, because of that. But look. Lots of no changes, lots of kind of fundamental things that have been changed in it. Go and check out the post. It's very lengthy if you're interested in Alliance Wars. If you're not, then you're like me, waiting for Kabam to put something in that's more interesting and fun. But there we go. Which is a good thing, because it's like, it's a rare champion to get if you want to go and grind it. But I don't think, I don't know why everybody was super excited to kind of like see this has been the surprise arena. Surprise! No selector arena. It may be next month. Woo! I'm trying to be excited and enthusiastic as possible. But also, like, Strife is coming into the basic as well, which is excellent news for those that care about grabbing a Strife. And I think it's a great champion to pick up. And I do think the arenas are going to be difficult to predict, but I have a good job in order to protect them. I'll have a good job at trying to predict them. So predictions are down below at the moment. Just to confirm those predictions and why, Blackwood as a 6-star is a pretty rare champion to get. So I'm definitely going with 70 mil being that kind of benchmark there. But you just don't really know what players will do with this, because it's the first time I think the 6-stars entered in, that maybe they'll push this upwards of 80, 90 mil. I'd love to say it's 70 mil. I don't think anybody's going to go ridiculously high with that. But, weirder things happen. 40 mil, I'm going with a 5-star, because I just think that's kind of like apt. 6-star Strife, I'm going with 80 mil. And the 5-star Strife, I'm going with 40 mil. Again, I think they're very kind of like fair champions to go for. Right about there. And there we go. That has been a Marvel Contest of Champions news show for Wednesday. Thanks very much for watching. Sorry there's not a huge amount of spicy things or interesting things going on at the moment, but the game's kind of meh. But hopefully things pick up next week. Appreciate you, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.